Aaron Dykes here for Infowars.com. We've got to ask ourselves, why are the feds preparing for a war against Americans? Why have they bought now more than 2 billion bullets, all kinds of arms and ammunition, and now more than 2,700 tanks to patrol in America and keep order? We're told it's because they love us. We're told it's to keep the peace and to increase safety. But of course, we also know from Army documents, from Homeland Security reports, and a lot of other information that it's really to occupy America and prepare for a civil unrest and a total economic collapse that will include gun confiscation.
Gun confiscation is exactly what happened during the state of emergency following Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans.
Now, the founders who set up the Constitution and Bill of Rights did not want a standing army because they knew history and they knew that over and over again, that's how power corrupts and takes over societies. At the same time, they were concerned about historical examples like the Shays Rebellion that happened after the years of the Revolution, but before the Constitution, where soldiers who weren't paid formed mobs to try to take over the government. So they put in the possibility for the army to be used domestically for only one purpose, and that's to put down insurrections. This was strengthened through things like Posse Comitatus from 1878, strictly forbidding military from working with police or doing domestic operations. But that has whittled away in recent years, and there's been a concerted effort to do away with Posse Comitatus altogether and to take away the state's power over troops and National Guards and put all the power in the hands of the feds, Homeland Security, and the Department of Defense. We've, of course, seen how the military has been drilling, preparing, and training to take on Americans, put them in internment camps, and otherwise occupy the domestic sphere of society. Alex documented it as early as his Police State 2000 film and in many of his other films. Here's a short clip where Americans come to checkpoints and beg for help from the military.
Attention. American forces are here to help. Remain calm. We will not tolerate civil disobedience.
But it's in no way limited to the things that Alex has just put in his films. This has been an ongoing effort that has been accelerating. David Knight did a special report just a few weeks ago documenting only a few of the recent urban warfare drills, many of which included helicopters firing simulated live rounds over major American cities. They include Houston, Miami, Minneapolis, St. Louis, Chicago, Los Angeles, and other locales.
Well, let's take a look at some of these recent drills. January the 28th in Houston.
Helicopters and the sound of gunfire created a lot of concern this afternoon in one Houston neighborhood.
And an Army major who was out here wouldn't tell us exactly what kind of training they were doing.
Miami, 4 days earlier, January the 24th, 2013.
Still, if you've seen one of these drills, it really is like a scene out of one of those action movies, choppers stalking the sky of downtown Miami. It's a joint military training exercise.
And here's another one in Minneapolis, August 28th, 2012.
If you see military helicopters flying low over Minneapolis, do not be alarmed. They are training in an urban environment.
Here's another one, St. Louis, July 3rd, 2012.
It's a military mission in North St. Louis. Heavily armored vehicles are rolling into town, and while they come in peace, there are all kinds of rumors about why they are here.
Chicago, April 17, 2012.
A pretty scary scene along the Chicago River turns out to be a military training exercise.
Los Angeles in January the 26th, 2012.
Special Military Operation Forces, in conjunction with the LAPD, conducting some military maneuvers.
Of course, in the 2010 film Police State 4, The Rise of FEMA, Rob Dew, Alex Jones, and the other filmmakers covered the example of Arcadia, Iowa, where the National Guard practiced cordon and search drills in neighborhoods to specifically take on gun dealers to find, quote, weapons caches. And Alex interviewed the officer who was in charge of the drill. They were admittedly doing it for domestic purposes inside the United States, and we should really ask ourselves why.
It says in this article, going door to door asking if they can search homes looking for weapons.
It's actually a planned training event to provide our soldiers with greater proficiency at what we call cordon and search. which is a mission that, just for a little background, we've deployed nearly 13,000 members of the Iowa National Guard in the global war on terror, and then actually search for caches of weapons or other kinds of contraband which could harm American forces and other
like Fallujah, what we saw in
Correct.
Fallujah.
Correct.
And then you have manuals like FM 3-39.40 specifically about internment and resettlement, and they include the presence of PSYOP officers to win over the support of the American people and, of course, to deal with dissidents. And this happens throughout history every time an oppressive power takes over. The Nazis, of course, didn't only come in with a strong military force. They first sent in what equates to PSYOP officers